Welcome back everyone. I hope you are able to hear my voice. Good. So we were trying to understand this particular line of code, and here what we have actually is we have got the JDBC concept, and we are trying to make use a connectivity to Oracle, and to connect it we are using a driver whose name is thin, and we are trying to connect it onto a local host. I wrote over here local host because I was trying to practice it on my own system. So I have written localhost. To refer back to my own system where the Oracle database is installed, I have written localhost. If you have got Oracle database installed onto a different server machine, you have to specify the IP address of that particular machine here. Next, you have to mention the server will get requests from multiple clients, right? For each and every client, there will be a request meant for a specific port number. The request will be meant at a particular port number. This port number is specific for each and every application. On the client machine, on the server machine, not just your Oracle server will be installed. There will be few other networking servers installed. There will be other application servers installed. All of them will try to sense, is there any request coming in? Is there any request coming in? So those requests will be looked at a particular port number. This port number can be taken as a door number. Your IP address you can think as it as of a house number. Inside the house number you will have the door number. At what port number the request is coming, that particular sensing will be done. So Oracle has a port number onto which it looks for the request, that is 1521 1521. This Oracle port number is very important. Then I'm using what type of Oracle server? I'm using Express Edition. We are using 11G Express Edition, if you recollect back. Now, this lengthy string, many of the students will forget. So again, I will try to make you to memorize it easily. Just look at the @ You will have a @ symbol here in the URL that you are going to pass to get the connection. You need to mention at what location that particular connection is to be established, with what location it is to be established. Okay. Now, at this location, I said it's the house number. Just recollect what I was saying. I just said the layman's words just to make you to memorize. That's all. Okay. This is your house number. After house number, there comes the door number. Then comes you. Is it clear? Now some students feel it difficult to remember this one also. 1521, 1521. You have to memorize it. And the easiest one is 1, 2 can be memorized easily. After 1, 2 will be coming. Just if you make a reverse of this 2, just rotate it upside down, it will look like 5. Right? 1521. This thing you need to remember. Is it clear? After @ what is to be written? I hope it's very easy for you to remember. Now before @ you are trying to make a connection using what driver? Thin driver. Thin driver is of what database connectivity? Oracle. Oracle, to connect to Oracle, what is the concept used? JDBC. Okay. Now for writing the get connection URL string, we'll start from the middle, we'll finish up writing the right hand part, and then we'll come for the left hand part. Done? So I hope this will help you to memorize it easily. Now coming on for create statement. Whenever you are trying to create this statement, this create statement will be of different type. First of all, to create this statement, we have to make use of a method called as create statement. We have to make use of a method called as create statement. This create statement will return an object of type statement. This statement is such a statement that it can be executed easily by the Oracle database. It can be passed from a Java application and sent to the Oracle database. Is it fine? Now, this create statement will create a statement object for us, And this object can be of basically three different types. Basically, how many different types? Three different types. First type is a normal statement, which will contain plain Oracle SQL syntaxes. It will contain only plain Oracle syntaxes. For example, a SQL statement like select statement. For example, a SQL statement like insert statement. In insert, if you directly pass the values, insert it in the database, it is a normal one. But suppose if you are making those values to be read from the keyboard and then getting inserted into the database, then you are writing this statement which is expecting the values to be given at a later moment of time from the keyboard or from the program. Then that type of statement is called as prepared statement. The statement which is written such that the values will be specified later on is called as prepared statement. Clear? Then callable statement. If you are making a call to some of the Oracle's SQL functions, then that particular statement will be called as callable statement. So how many types of statements are there altogether? Quickly answer it back in the chat box. Be quick. How many types of objects are there? Statement objects. Three. Very good, Balasubbarao. What are they? Normal statement, wherein you will write the plain SQL statements containing the values then and there itself. Second, prepared statement, which are also SQL statements, but which will provide the values at a later point. Third one, callable statement, statements which will try to have some methods being called on. Okay, we have to call it. So this SQL statement object is associated with an open connection and not for any single SQL statement. For the entire connectivity, you are able to have the SQL statement object valid. That means once you have dialed to your friend and the ring has been lifted up, you can start writing a lot of statements, right? You need not again and again dial for each and every statement that you are trying to speak with your friend. Same way over here, the statement object is associated with an open connection and not for any single SQL statement, not for each and every single statement. Is it clear? So, what is the syntax for creating? Create statement is the method which will return a statement object, which will return what type of object? Statement object. And it is of public nature. It is of what nature? Public nature. It throws SQL exception. If anything is wrongly written as a SQL statement here, it throws SQL exception back to its caller. So how do we create it? We'll create it using the connection object. Using what object? Connection. So we'll write connection object dot create statement. We'll make use of connection object dot create statement, and it will return what type of object? Statement type of object. Now fourth one. To execute query, the SQL statement may be anything. Just give me 1 minute now. I'm getting a call. So boys and girls, we need to be very quick. I have got an urgent message now. I need to go. So we'll be quickly seeing a program and then we'll wind up the class. I hope you will be able to go through the servlets notes and you can understand there, or else I will take the class later on at some moment of time if you have any doubts. So let us imagine we have got a database of this nature and we want to perform a query. If we perform the query, it will return a table back to the caller. Now tell me, can this table can be stored inside a variable? Is there any data type which can store the whole table inside that one? No. So this query is returning a table to us. That's why Oracle has provided us a new class whose object can hold this particular table. That class object is called as result set object. This result set is a class which will be able to represent an object which can store the entire table inside it. So using that object, we will be navigating from the first row to the second row to the third and then the fourth, so on unless and until all the row values are over. So there are certain methods inside the result set using which we will be trying to get to know what is the value stored inside each and every first column, second column, third column, so on. So to execute the query, we have got a execute query method which will have this syntax. It is going to return a result set. Its name is execute query. It is going to take a string which is a SQL statement which we want to execute. Throws SQL exception. If anything goes wrong in this SQL statement, it returns that particular exception and it is public nature. So in order to execute a query, let us say select star from EMP. Suppose I want to execute this query, I'll write statement.execute query, and it returns a result set back to its caller. This result set will be returning a value of type result set. And to go through for each and every row, we'll use a while loop. We don't know how many number of rows are there, right? So I want to repeatedly loop for each and every row. To go through each and every row, where the condition of stoppage is not known, we'll use a while loop. We'll use what loop? While loop. While rs, which is a result set object, which is holding all the data, rs.next. This next will determine is there any next row available or not. If there is no next row available, it will return false. Someone is telling voice it not audible. Nina, it's not audible now? From my end, there is no issue, ma. Neha. Neha, there is no issue from my side. So whatever it may be, please go through the audio recording if it is not available. Okay? So this rs.next is going to check whether there is, it's not clear. I'm sorry, man, there may be a lot of network issues coming in between, that's why it may not be clear, but please tolerate it. We'll see one program and we'll finish up. I have to quickly go from here to some location. Why all these calls again? Man? Okay. Don't know. Yes, I will try to get it. I will try to get to know. Okay, madam. Thank you. I'll call him and get to know. So now, to execute the query of this nature, select star from EMP will that query. We'll use execute query method. This method is present in is called using statement object. Okay, and it returns a result set object back to us. This result set object will be navigated one row after the other by using rs.next. This rs.next will return whether is there any next row available or not. If the next row is available, it returns true. If the row is not available, it returns false. So how do we get the first column value? We'll use rs.get. rs.get. Now what is the type of the column? If it is number type, we'll use int, get int. If it is varchar type, we'll use get string. So rs.get of 1, this 1 and this 2 are actually column number 1 and column number 2. Okay, if the first column is of number type, we'll use get int. If it is of number of 5, 2, that's actually a float. Okay, we will have get int, get float, get double, get string. Clear? So we need to mention that particular function. These functions are present in the result set. So fifth step is to close the connectivity. To close the connection, we just need to make a call to close function. Which function? Close function. What we are closing? Connection. Is it done? It was simple. So here I have kept a particular program which is trying to access a table called as student. So first create a table with these two rows getting inserted. Fine. So this student is having two columns. One is SID, second is SNAME. Their data types are also mentioned here. So how do we write a program, Java program, which can connect to this database table? So we are taking one test class, any class name which we can write. But do remember we need to import a package called as java.sql. Without this package, we cannot work. And in the main, what we are trying to do is we are trying to load the Oracle driver, which we have discussed earlier. Class.forName and then the driver name which we wanted to load. Next, we need to establish the connection. To establish the connection, we will make a call to driver manager.get connection. We will pass the URL to which we wanted to connect. The username and password we will specify. Once the connection is established, we will try to create a statement by using the connection object. Connection.create statement will create a connectivity statement for us. In this statement, we will try to execute a query by using statement object. S.execute query. What is the query that we wanted to execute? Select star from student. After executing this query, it will return the entire table into the result set object. Now I have to access the result set object one row after the other unless all the rows are over. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to read what is the first column value by using a getInt function. Why I'm using getInt? Because its data type is number. Second column's data type is varchar. That's why I'm using get string. rs.getInt, rs.getString. Here you need to mention either the column name or the column number. If you know exactly what is the name of the column, you can mention it. Otherwise, you have to mention as 1, 2, 3. Is it fine? So once all the work is done, just close the connection. That's all. If any exception arises here in the try block, then catch that exception and try to print the entire print stack trace. This program is very important program for your exam. Please do remember this program. Memorize it out. Is it fine? If you wish, you can go through the second program also, which I have written here. But here I have used a prepaid statement. Instead of using a normal statement, I have used a prepaid statement in which you can see I have not specified the values directly here to be inserted. I have kept question marks. Question mark is a placeholder whose values will be substituted later. So after this statement is created, I am trying to set the values as set integer for the first column 104. Set string for the second column value as Alex. And I am trying to execute the above statement by using a call to execute update. I am not using execute query. So whenever you are having a prepaid statement, to be created, then you have to use execute update, not use execute query. For normal statement, you will use execute query. For prepared statement, where you are going to mention the values later on, then you will use execute update. The remaining part of the program is as it is, same to the previous program. Okay. This program, if you wish, you can remember, but it is not very important. Now I have kept one more program for your practice, trying to show you how the insert will be done, but it is not as important as that of the previous two programs. Okay, so prepared statement and normal statement, both the programs I have given to you. Similarly, in the servlets concept, we'll be discussing, but I don't think I will have much time because I need to start to home now. There is some work. So please excuse me for that purpose. Is it okay, ma'am? And it is not having much detailed elaborations. Or else just in a brief, I will explain that particular part to you and I will just leave from here. Servlets are Java programs which are stored on the server machine, and these programs will run on the server only. They may be interacting with the database or any other application programs. But these servlet programs are not exactly as set of applets. Do remember, applets are also Java programs which are stored on server, but these will get downloaded on the client machine and the applets will run on the client machine. But servlets are not like applets. They are saved on the server, and this server itself will execute it. It will not be downloaded on the client machine. After executing it, this server will reply back for the request that was made for this servlet. Is it clear? Servlets are usually meant for making a dynamic program, dynamic HTML program, so that the dynamic HTML program can be sent as a response message back to the client which has requested it. So given the basic information about the servlet, let me say you, the servlet should be saved on the server, right? That will be saved on the server in a special repository called as web server. Servlet will get executed by an application called as web server. If we are using a normal Java program, who is going to compile and execute the program? We as a programmer will type javac and then the file name .java. We will type java space the bytecode file name. But as a part of our servlet is to be executed by the server itself in response to a client request, right? So which part of our server will execute it? The web server will try to execute it. So web server is the application which will execute the servlet program so that the servlet can generate a dynamic HTML file and send it back as a response to its caller. So advantages I have written here. What are the tasks that are performed? These are the different classes that are available in the servlet. So one is HTTP servlet, another is servlet request, servlet response. All these things are there available in the servlets. Please go through what is javax.servlet.http, what is javax.servlet, why do we use them. Please excuse me for not concentrating on the servlets a lot. There is no much time left out now. Okay, so I'm in a hurry, I'll close this session now here. Hope you will go through the servlets concept and try to understand it. Is it all? Shall I leave now? Boys and girls, for the record,